Greetings, friends, and welcome to another episode of the Mistake Zone, your weekly dose of our lives and the mistakes within them. My name is Jaren Wade. Joining me, as always, one of my best friends in the whole wide world, Matt Alba. Hey, Matt.
Yo.
ZZZB leaking.
Yo, they leaking. It's drippy in here. It's drippy.
Matt.
Y'all are leaking Z's?
We leaking.
Sort of. Matt, how's the drip marketing? How are you feasting right now on these or thirsting on these leaks?
Yo, there is a lot of good leaks. Jaren, I'm guessing that I'm going to be pulling, more Yishuan and at least one Wenjin. I don't understand how to play her, and it looks kind of weird, but if she's strong, she's strong.
That's how it goes in the world of gacha, man album. But also joining us, as always, another one of our best friends in the whole wide world, Rakush. Hey, Rakush.
Guys, I'm also leaking Z's.
Oh no.
The way I don't sleep a lot.
You should probably get that looked after. But Rakush, you went shopping this weekend, or at least browsing this weekend. What did you learn about the Pokemon card community?
I can't say what I actually think because I feel like it would be insulting to
Jaren,
you, and I don't want to say it. Yeah. No, it was interesting, man. Like, I didn't realize how many different kinds of packs there were, how many different kind of rare cards there were. Like, it seems kind of overwhelming to approach as like a first timer. Not that I ended up buying anything. I didn't really have any desire to, but a lot. It's a lot.
I mean, Rakush, you had I don't want to say a similar experience, but you could kind of see it through the current release rates of the Pokemon Pocket TCG mobile game, which coincidentally, a new pack came out this week where I feel like with the Pokemon Pocket TCG, we're looking at what has it been so far? How long has this game been out? But we've seen a pack a month, and when you're looking at the physical, you're looking at a new expansion every 2 to 3 months in that case, where yes, it can definitely be overwhelming. And every time I walk through a con, every time I stand in a line for a new drop, I wonder, when will this bubble burst, considering everything going on, which we might mention a bit later on in the episode. But boys, I went to the movies this week. Multiple times.
Did they have Pokemon cards there?
No, not this time. But
did you watch Sinners again?
Man, Rakush, I wanted to
kind of want to go, dude.
Rakush, I don't think they're playing the 70mm version anymore in Bond.
Apparently, it's getting re-released on May 15th.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be keeping an eye out for those releases.
All right, keep us posted, and we'll let you know, because I think we did mention it when we talked about it last week, where if you don't really see it in IMAX or the 70mm IMAX in its initial run, you're pretty much have to wait until some sort of special release, some sort of anniversary release, where definitely down to go see that if the opportunity presents itself in the next few weeks. But to kind of keep it within the realm of the mistake zone, the first movie we saw this week was the Minecraft movie, starring Jack Black, Jason Momoa, and guys, I'm actually surprised at how much I enjoyed the Minecraft movie. Not because I'm some big Minecraft fan, but the fact
you
that
watched it in 4DX is why you liked it so much, right?
No, Matt, should we go see it in 4DX this weekend?
Is it in 4DX? Do you think it would be a good 4DX experience?
If Thunderbolts wasn't already probably the 4DX movie, I think this would be a decent 4DX experience, considering the different scenes, the different biomes, and kind of the different weather, scenarios that our protagonists find themselves in. But in terms of the Minecraft movie itself, I'm surprised that I appreciated it as much as I did, because, boys, I'm not a big Minecraft player. I think, Matt, I've said this on the Mistake Zone plenty of times before. Everything I know about Minecraft is through osmosis, because I've watched cute anime girl avatars play Minecraft a lot. And in doing so, I feel like I've absorbed enough for me to get some of the more, I wouldn't say the deeper cuts or references in the Minecraft film, but the maybe one or two blocks down if you were to dig in terms of
Mm.
references,
Mm-hmm.
where
Mm-hmm.
I think just having that kind of secondhand knowledge of Minecraft really made all the kind of cute little Easter eggs, even the direct references, land better than, say, To My Partner, who I went with.
Mm-hmm.
And it, at the end of the day, it's just a silly kids movie. There are immature jokes that, as a someone in their mid 30s, I should be ashamed at, that I giggled at, but considering I'm a 10-year-old at heart,
Mm-hmm.
I still let out a giggle. It's, guys, it's what you would kind of expect. Jack Black as Steve, not necessarily the most popular kid growing up. The fact that within the first, I want to say 3-4 minutes, you have a the children yearn for the mines joke, I think really sets
Mm-hmm.
the tone of what you're going to expect for the next hour 47 minutes, I believe, where plot's super thin, but I think it's just a good time, especially if you're going with a child who does have an affinity for the series, where sure, all the villagers, the sheep, they look a bit disturbing in my opinion, where you're so used to these blocky graphics, and just to see them have this 3D stylized versions of themselves on screen is a bit kind of weird. But again, if you're a child, you probably don't care. This is the game you and your friends
Mm-hmm.
play on a daily basis, and to see it on the big screen, I think that's really all you can ask for in terms of a video game property movie that does respect the source material. And of course, there is a post-credit scene, and um, Matt,
Uh-huh.
I'm pretty sure you can guess what the post-credit scene is. What do you think the post-credit scene to the Minecraft movie is?
Yo, obviously it's Mario inviting him to the Smash franchise.
Damn,
You
so
stole my
close. So
damn.
close, man. Rikush, what do you think the post-credit scene to
I
Minecraft
was
is?
gonna make the exact same joke.
I swear we
Damn.
made this joke last week, didn't we?
We're three peas in a pod, but of course, Jack Black or Steve returns to his childhood home that he's been missing from for the last 30 year or decade or so. And guys, guess who answers the door,
Oh.
but you never see her face? That's right. They mention Alex as the post-credit scene, so you know there's going to be a Minecraft 2. But overall, just a
Who,
fun
wait,
kids movie. What's up?
wait.
Mm-hmm.
Who's Alex?
God damn it, Rakush. God damn it.
Alex is like Steve is like the male character, Alex is the female character that you can choose to play
Oh
as.
Jesus. Okay.
Did
All right.
wait,
Yeah.
is like it a prominent like actress playing it, or it's just like a
So it's, of course, it's an over-the-shoulder view. You see their red
okay.
hair, but probably just a extra for now until they
Mm.
actually cast it for the sequel. Um, I was gonna ask if you guys thought who would play. Considering Jack Black is Steve, who do you think should play an Alex?
Oh, I don't know. What's the name of what's her face? Red haired girl from that like the Guild show.
Oh, Felicia
Felicita?
Day?
Felicia
Yes,
Day?
that's the first person that I thought of.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a redhead, but I respect
No,
that energy, man.
that's why I thought of her first.
Rikush is
I
someone
don't know
who's
why the
sorry, go on.
Olivia Munn.
As
Good point.
yeah,
Oh,
but yeah,
man.
Minecraft
That's
movie
the
pretty
first one that
fun.
came to
Who
mind.
okay, who is the
What's up?
female Jack Black?
Damn.
Who's the one from Parks and Rec? I feel like I would consider her.
Tina Fey?
No, the other
Tina
one.
Fey's 30 Rock plus writer.
Oh.
Amy Poehler.
Oh, Amy Poehler. Mm,
Is it Amy Poehler?
Yeah, I guess I could see it.
Yeah, I can
That's
see
fair.
it.
That's fair.
Mm.
I could see it. I could see it.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, I'm curious if they would go down like full Jack Black for Alex as well, or you have someone that kind of contrasts a more, subdued more contained actress. So we'll see. But overall, if you're just looking for a fun time that doesn't take itself too seriously, and you might have an affinity for Minecraft, you check out the Minecraft movie. But uh, we also saw last night. So again, pretty fresh movie. Mentioned it earlier. We did see Thunderbolts, the latest Marvel release. I'm not sure. This is the second one of the year. I believe was Captain America this
Second.
year as well. I
Yeah.
believe so. Right. And then of course, we have the Fantastic Four in a few weeks as well. But I've said it numerous times on the Mistake Zone that I'm personally feeling the Marvel fatigue. But there was something how Thunderbolts has been getting pretty good reviews. And there was the internet scuttlebutt of, oh, the post credit scene is kind of wild. So I think those two in particular, we had a movie pass from a gift card that we bought. So we thought, hey, what the heck? Let's go see Thunderbolts. And I'll admit, I was actually pleasantly surprised afterwards, just because, going in as someone who doesn't necessarily have an affinity for the characters being presented or the Thunderbolts as a whole. And, even though it was a DC film, you still have that, let's say, kind of a reception to the Suicide Squad, and a lot of people just throwing out, hey, this is just Marvel Suicide Squad. So I feel like there
Yeah.
were also all these things kind of running against it through just popular culture. But yeah, again, I'm pleasantly surprised at what the movie was overall, just because kind of slight spoilers, I guess, for the Thunderbolts film. I did not have it on my 2025 bingo card that Marvel would make a movie that deals with mental health and dealing with personal trauma and how to kind of explore it, overcome it, and actually live with it. Where you have all these, you know, pretty broken characters coming from their respective films or franchises that have some sort of baggage attached to them. And for you to kind of join them throughout this 2 hour run to see how they explore the trauma, how they're trying to get through it, and just actually, like, what I was most impressed with, just kind of trying to talk it out with other characters, what they're feeling, and coming to some sort of closure to varying degrees for each of them, especially when it comes to Bob or Sentry specifically. I was actually just really surprised that this was the direction that they were going, because of course you could have your typical, hey, here we need a team of misfits to go on this, stop me if you heard this before, suicide mission, and you guys have to do it. Here's some big action scenes, here's some explosions, and let's call it a day. But no, I was honestly pleasantly surprised, especially when it does come to Century and how they depict him dealing with his trauma, his depression. And sure, a lot of it is kind of on the nose in terms of how they're kind of battling it, but at the same time, pleasantly surprised. And I'll be honest, by the time I walked out of the theater, part of me did feel like, okay, maybe I should go back to watch some of the Marvel movies I've skipped over the past couple of years, just because maybe I am ready to buy into Fantastic Four. Maybe I am ready to buy into Doomsday, to Secret Wars, and maybe, as daunting as it sounds, maybe I will go back to do some homework so I can kind of appreciate this a lot more. And maybe, just maybe, it will still at least scratch at what I did have, during the first few phases of the MCU, where I think this was, as someone who hasn't watched the latest Captain America, who didn't watch, you know, the Captain or Falcon and Winter Soldier, who only watched, I think, the second Ant-Man. So I'm not familiar that much with a lot of these characters, but it was self-contained enough with subtle references to the previous ones that even if you're going in with that Marvel fatigue, I think you might be uh, pleasantly surprised as well. Where Rakush, I know you also have the Marvel fatigue. Was Thunderbolts on your radar in any way?
kind of is, yeah, and it is more so now because of the positive reviews.
Mhm.
I am planning on going and catching it sometime either this week or the next. I don't know. I guess like I'm trying to watch what I say about like Marvel fatigue and specifically like how it relates to this movie because I am trying to. I don't know. I want to watch a movie before I like formulate an opinion, of
Right, right.
course, right? Like, what's the point
Nah,
of having an opinion without knowing any of this?
nah.
Sorry, Matt. Sorry. I'll try to formulate an opinion. These dang movies today, I don't know.
No, you
I
just gotta
can't do
watch
it.
a trailer and then blindly form an
Yeah.
opinion based on what they put in it. That's how you decide
So I
what movies to
have. So
watch.
here's okay. So you kind of stumbled into like what I was trying to formulate a thought on here is that I have watched the trailers and it's another one of those like batch of trailers that kind of I think spoils the movie too much. But then lately, what I've also been realizing is a lot of that tends to happen when a studio is either not confident in the movie or they're not confident in the box office for the movie. It's one or the other, sometimes a combination. And that kind of stuff is sometimes just takes a little bit of the anticipation away from these experiences. So, like, Jaren, you're talking about the Sentry, for example. If I had not watched the trailers, I would not know that the Sentry is in this movie. And that would have been a pleasant surprise. And that would have actually been a cool moment in the theaters. But I kind of knew about it already before you mentioned it. So, like, I'm going in with sort of like this idea of what the Sentry should be like in the movie. And I'm curious if it's going to live up to
Hmm.
that because one of my favorite sort of like Avengers runs was sort of like this post Civil War like Avengers run where like you had the Dark Avengers, you had the New Avengers, and the New Avengers was like this combination of classic characters but not traditional Avengers characters, and it was really interesting. And Sentry was a part of it too. So like it sets a different expectation as well. So I'm curious how that plays into it. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like this movie kind of seems like it's a Marvel movie, so let's see. Maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. It's definitely promising that you're saying it was more entertaining. So yeah.
Yeah, and I guess the key takeaway is while I did watch a few Thunderbolts trailers in the past, and I'm pretty sure I messaged you both in some capacity of, wow, this movie looks like ass based on the trailers. um, yeah, I was pleasantly surprised, and I did enjoy my time with it. Where there is that I don't want to say a fully rejuvenated interest in the MCU again, but I'm at least now more optimistic about it moving forward, and I'm curious to see where it goes. But maybe when you do see it, Rakush, we can talk a bit more about it, how you feel about the casting and what could have been, just because, yeah, just seeing who was originally. How the movie was originally written, who was originally supposed to appear, and who was penciled in to be some of the roles. I'm curious to, and to you as well, Matt, if you end up seeing it, what you guys think about the finished project compared to what could have been. But the one thing I will say, um, PSA, if you're watching the credits and actually reading the credits, when it gets to the music segment, don't,
Oh yeah.
because that one of the biggest complaints I've seen on the internet was if you read the music credits, that kind of spoils the post credit scene.
Mm.
I see you're on the same Reddit threads as I am, Jaren.
So not only that, speaking about trailers, uh, all I'm gonna say is I'm pretty sure I know how. No, I won't say it. Maybe once you guys have seen the movie, I'll talk about how I'm kind of iffy on that post credit scene, despite what everyone has said about it. But to Rikush's point, let's just not watch trailers anymore, boys. Like, trailers are bad, in my opinion. I will say I'm hyped about him, and I thought that was a good trailer. And I think, as someone who likes driving movies, even though F1, the trailer probably shows the whole movie, I'm probably going to watch F1 as well. Rikush, what summer blockbusters are on your to watch list?
I mean, I am curious about Fantastic Four. Like I feel like there's going to be some real funky shit that happens in that movie, so I am looking forward to it. F1 seems interesting, but like honestly, like I'm only finding out about like movies a couple of weeks before they're coming out at this point that like I'm like, "Oh yeah, I want to go watch this," right? So Nothing really on the radar right now per se.
In terms of trailers before Thunderbolts, I didn't know there was a new Jurassic Park movie with ScarJo in it.
Oh,
Uh, didn't know there was a new Predator movie, and I didn't know there was a new Tron movie.
Oh,
Which
yeah, that Predator. Is it a Predator movie or is it a TV show?
I don't even know, boys. I just saw Predator without a mask and thought, man, I think Predator's cool with the mask on, so I'm gonna continue not caring about this franchise.
oh man.
Oh, right. Sorry. That's the movie, and then there's an Alien TV show that's coming out.
Fair.
That's what it is.
Fair.
I liked
And
that previous Tron movie a lot.
What was it? I like the soundtrack.
Also, honestly, the Predator movie. The Predator movie could be good, man. Like, I don't know if you guys have watched Prey or not, but that was a really, really, really fun take on the Predator franchise.
Okay.
And it's from the same director, from what I understand. So I am actually, like I am looking forward to that a little bit because I think like if you're gonna keep redoing these franchises, at least try something different with them. And it seems like they're doing it.
I think the first Predator movie I ever watched was Alien versus Predator,
Dang.
which is
that's
also
not
the first Alien movie that I watched. Now that I'm saying this,
Fair,
Oh my God.
fair. That last Alien movie, I really enjoyed in theaters, but
We talked about it, right? I think like
I
first-
think so in some capacity.
like the first 20 minutes were really interesting, like show us more about that universe. And the finish was kind of like, it was fine. I didn't hate it as much as other people hated it.
The ending to what was it, Romulus or whatever?
Covenant, no?
No, I'm talking about Alien. What was it called? It's the latest one that came out last year. I think it was on my top 10. Well,
Oh yeah, Romulus, you're right.
yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. My final question before we move on to movie talk. Matt, what do you think of the latest wave of movies that seem to be taking, something like how to, what was it, Train Your Dragon or Lilo and Stitch or Moana, and kind of taking it from these 3D animated movies to more live action plus 3D.
I think the How to Train Your Dragon one specifically looks pretty good. Like I like how they've integrated everything together. The Lilo and Stitch one, I think Stitch looks weird in that.
Yeah.
I feel like the 3D and the the 3D and the real 3D, like the CG 3D and the real people 3D, aren't meshing together properly for me when I was looking at those trailers. But I don't know.
Fair.
You gotta hook in those what are they? What's after Gen Alpha?
I don't know.
Those
Matt.
kids.
The beta generation.
Didn't know there was a Superman movie coming out too.
Oh yeah, with the dog.
There's a dog in it? I don't know.
Oh,
I
man.
don't know. But Matt,
Mm-hmm.
we played some Steam demos this week. And
Yes, we did.
You put something on my radar that was, I do admit, was on my wish list, but I never got around to playing it. But Matt,
Mm-hmm.
tell me about your time with the Mindwave demo.
All right. So, how do you guys feel about WarioWare? Because you like WarioWare, Mindwave is just WarioWare in a indie packaging.
I don't know. There's always something about a collection of micro games incorporated in a story that I do tend to gravitate towards, or at least show interest. I know I talked about Knuckle Sandwich as an RPG last year, where their battle systems were essentially turn-based, mixed in with micro games to attack and defend, where
Mm-hmm.
on paper, I like a WarioWare mashup with a genre. But Matt, with Mindwave in particular, I have to ask, what do you think about first the kind of overall aesthetic and how it looks?
The overall aesthetic of the actual kind of, I guess, like visual novel half of the game is honestly kind of like hit or miss for me. I
Really?
don't really care too much for the overall like style there, but I do think that the art style lends itself pretty nicely to the micro games portion. But I also think that I might be influenced by that because I think the story for the visual novel portion is very, it's very like teenage to me.
Yes.
Like this is something that, I probably would have eaten up when we were like 16 or so, but now it's like, okay, I I want to progress past this so I can play the micro games.
Yeah. Where I do admit I really did enjoy the visuals and kind of just going around with your character initially, just because it really does give me this 90s cartoon feel that, again, I do like that Cartoon Network, semi adult swim. This seems like if Mindwave was a television show, it
Mm-hmm.
would seem like I would watch this on Teletoon at night or on YTV pushing around like 9 to the 11 o'clock slot, where I think that's just really appealing to me. But yeah, then you get into this cyberpunk like story with a corporation that is asking you to kind of import or plug a cube into your mind port, which also gives me the tummy rumblies. But
Mm-hmm.
the premise of the game is you enter a tournament. There's a big fancy prize at the end, but essentially you're battling every round. You're gonna take on someone. You're linking your minds, and you're essentially trying to conquer their micro games. Um, and I
Mm-hmm.
believe it is a series of first 10 micro games at a specific speed, then you do another 15 at kind of a faster speed, and then a boss fight at the end. Where, Matt,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
since you are the pro gamer here,
Uh-huh.
did you get past the first set of micro games slash plus the boss?
I failed the boss one once because I just didn't grasp the movement like properly. It
Hmm.
really throws me off that like okay, the boss level for the first level is basically what is this genre game? I'm thinking of like Doodle Jump, but I feel like
Yeah.
that's not the originator
Well,
of
it
it.
is a platformer
Mhm.
that you are starting from the bottom and then trying to make your way to the top.
Mhm. And I definitely like messed up because I was trying to like, it looks like you're able to jump two platforms at once, but you're just
Yeah.
short of it, and that caused me
Hmm.
to fall. But like I think that boss level went on too long for what it was, and I think it moved too slowly. But as far as the micro games go, I really like like I said earlier, the art style of the micro games
Hmm.
and the micro games themselves, especially with how they are kind of doing the micro games because it is, I guess, like you tried to play this on your Steam Deck and you found out that it is not controller compatible.
Yep.
You need the mouse and keyboard because it splits the
Yes.
micro games into kind of a bunch of different categories where it's like you either only use the mouse or you only use the keyboard or you only use spacebar or you only use the arrow keys, and then it can combine like any of those combinations together to do your micro game with.
Right.
And I really like the design of the micro games as far as like their theming goes, because this is very, I don't know, like I don't want to say kid stuff, but it's very like, oh, this tracks a lot for you know what you would imagine a micro game to be when as a kid, or not as a kid,
Right.
but like looking into like someone's like mind, like
Yeah.
especially just the one that jumped out to me was the dude surfing on the telephone pole electric wires
Yes.
on the side of the car. Ooh, so good, so good, so
Oh,
good.
that brought me back, boys. That brought me
Mm-hmm,
back.
mm-hmm,
Where,
mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm really so. Before you can jump into the micro games, but during the visual novels segment, you are able to talk to some of the different competitors. Just get a feel for them, have some awkward social interactions, and there is this at least note that, hey, maybe it's good to scope out the crowd just because that may be able to influence the upcoming games. Because, of course, you are facing off in someone's head playing their micro games essentially. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm really curious in the final version how much of that takes an effect of depending on, what dialogue choices you're picking. Will that make certain games appear or make them more difficult or even make them more easy?
Oh,
Because
mm-hmm.
I think that could be a really interesting possibility to me. But Matt,
Mm-hmm.
one thing I also want to note is, again, first 10 levels of first 10 levels of a micro game match, pretty okay.
Yes.
And then you get to the sped up version that lasts maybe 15 microgames or so.
Mhm.
And this is where that's, dystopian cyberpunk stuff kind of comes in, just because not only are the games different, but all of a sudden you're getting random pop-ups that you have to
Yes.
contend with and close, where
I really like that.
I just as a piece of flavor, as a world building lore, I really did like that, and I'm really curious as well how weird that might get, and how many other cyberpunk tropes they'll be able to pull for those kind of distractions. Just because, again, that added flair did so much to me for this overall package. It's just I wish that boss fight. The fact that I failed it twice, and the second time I failed it, I thought, okay, I don't want to play 25 micro games all over again to get here, to try to get my head around it. Where I think as a baby gamer, maybe I'm hoping the boss fights get tweaked just a bit. But hey, maybe it's just one of those games, and fair enough to that. Maybe it's just not for me. But I think as an overall package, the demo is something that interests me, and I'm really curious to see if some of the hints that they're dropping at least make their way into more fleshed out mechanics into the final version. But Rakush, does Mindwave seem like it's something for you?
I don't know, to be honest. Like, it sounds a little bit too much for me personally. I can't quite explain it. I think I need to look it up a little bit more to maybe make more sense of it.
Like, compared to another WarioWare game, I think Mindwave, especially with the pop-ups, because I did want to touch on that a bit as well, where a lot more is happening, and there is a lot more visually going on in Mindwave than I think there is in any of the WarioWare games.
Yes.
It is, I think, purposely vibrant, and with the distractions stuff like the pop-ups, I think there was also it flips everything upside down, and I'm sure that there's going to be other modifiers in the future or in the full game, and I think that is a very, very interesting thing that they're adding, because I don't think I've ever seen a mechanic like this in the already existing WarioWare games, where there is a bigger game on top of the micro games that you're playing. And I think that is a really, really interesting addition, and I don't know, I'm interested in seeing how far they're going to take it.
This is also definitely a game where I can't be half asleep for this, just because I feel like this wants more of my attention. That I think when I failed one, I didn't realize I could close the pop-ups because I was just getting sleepy. And then that's when I realized, nope, I got to be kind of awake just to kind of comprehend what's going on. But yeah, overall, definitely shows potential. So this is Mindwave. The demo is now available on Steam, and probably has been since the last Steam or Next Fest or something. But it's currently listed as coming soon. But yeah, hoping that this might be something we'll see more of this year. Also, I don't like the brushing minigame, Matt, just because I thought I brushed that girl's hair, but I guess I didn't in time.
Yeah, I don't like that because there's no button input. It's all just mouse movement, and it's a little bit finicky to get it going.
Definitely, but check out Mindwave if that sounds like your jam. But another demo that was made available this week was something that has been kind of on my radar for a few months now. But this is inKONBINI. One store, many stories. This is in the realm of that. So I would say this is a half cozy game, half one of their takes on let's face it, you're doing a mundane task, and you just have to vibe with it. Where in inKONBINI, you play as Makoto, who is a university student who is working at her aunt's convenience store, and I believe she's going to go back to school within a week, so she has a week or two left working here. The setting is the 1990s in a small Japanese town. So the prologue demo kind of introduces you to what the game is. You're essentially doing a one-person shift in this convenience store, and then you're doing what you would kind of expect to do, where you're stocking shelves, kind of fixing things, making sure everything faces forward, making sure everything is in their proper direction. And then in true comfy cozy game fashion, you're also kind of discovering little notes, little side missions to do. And I think the one of the or main portions of the game is you're interacting with the clientele, where you meet the chief during the prologue demo, and you're kind of just hearing his story and listening to his issues and trying to kind of give him not necessarily advice, but your own insight, your own feedback. And then um, what I'm guessing the loop will be is how you kind of influence everyone around this small town in between you just trying to run a convenience store. Where I do like the look of the game, and it is just pretty relaxing to kind of walk through the different aisles, see what needs to be restocked, see what needs fixing. And of course, when you have to check out a customer, just trying to input everything, giving them the right change, where it really does have a charm to it. I really like the visuals as well. And again, this reminds me of a lot of the coffee talk games or those types of, hey, you're in this service role and you're dealing with all these different customers to learn their stories, to see how you can help them. So I think this is just another take on that is definitely up my alley. But Matt, was this something you were able to check out this week?
No, I didn't end up playing it. I was just watching trailers for it to see what was up. And
Fair.
Jaren, I don't know if this bothers you or not about the game, but one thing that really, really bothered me whenever I was looking at gameplay for this game is that it is not using really made up letters. It's just like flipping or turning real letters.
Also fair, yeah. I do know what you're talking about. There is something off about the assets, and I don't want to like. I was talking to some friends about it as well, where we weren't sure about some of the assets that they are using, especially when it does come to the text. That, yeah, I do agree. There's something off, not necessarily about the in-game text when you're reading about things, but just what is being displayed on like labels and posters and stuff like that. Where, yeah, there's definitely, if you look closely at it, it's just off in my opinion as well.
Like it's proper Japanese, like like kanji, hiragana, like katakana, but they're like either rotating it or flipping it or removing like a line from it, and I don't know. So thinking about that is really, really bothering me.
Yeah, but if this sounds like it's up your alley, I think the demo or the prologue demo is only 20-30 minutes to complete. There is one side mission that I didn't get to do just because I didn't want to search around for an item in the store. But for the most part, just putting stuff on shelves, there is a relaxing element to it. I just like the vibe. So yeah, inKONBINI, one store, many stories, demo out now. Gotta ask you once again, Rakush, does this sound like it might be something up your alley?
I mean, I'm a weeb, so this one sounds more up my alley. I looked it up a little bit earlier too, because I was curious based on the name what it's about. It's yeah, it looks alright. I mean, I think with a game like this, I guess it's more just like, am I playing it as like a slice of life thing? Is there like a serious end game to it? Like, I'm not quite sure based on what I saw about it. I didn't read up on the story or anything, but yeah, I'm curious about that part.
Yeah, I think it is more so within that slice of life realm of just kind of meeting your quirky neighbors or the inhabitants of this town. And I know it is kind of framed that Makoto will be going or returning to school within a few weeks, where I'm also wondering if that will play into the flow of the game of, hey, will there be a time limit? Will you be able to meet everyone? Or is that something that will ask for you to do kind of multiple runs? But who knows? I'm really curious just to see what this game is when it does come out. But I'm just looking for a relaxing time where sometimes you want to be a barista, sometimes you want to be a convenience store worker in a small town, and kind of just do those type of tasks to relax. So definitely something on my radar, and hopefully it looks ends up playing well. So hopefully, and I'm not sure. Checking the store right now, release date is to be announced. But Matt, anything else you've checked out this week?
I mean, kind of at the suggestion, I guess, of Julian last week, I decided to jump into Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
Okay.
And
I have this downloaded, and as another longtime friend of mine, I didn't get to ask Julian last week, but Matt, from your time with it, is this a Jaren game?
I think it has potential to be a Jaren game.
Okay. But the main question, is this a Matt game?
This is, the more I'm playing it, the more I am thinking that it is a Matt game. I'll be honest, the first kind of like 2 or 3 hours, I was struggling to keep playing it. I found it very dry to play through. And I don't know, it just wasn't really like hitting for me very well. But like once I got past a certain point where, you know, you kind of like level the characters up a little bit more and you have more ability to choose what you're doing with builds, it started clicking a lot better for me.
Okay.
But one of the things that's really like holding me back at the very start, just as like a heads up to anybody who's going to be playing this on an ultra wide screen, there are some issues with this game for the ultra wide screen. If you're playing it on PC, is this a PC only game right now, or is it also out on like consoles?
I have it downloaded.
PS5 as well.
Yeah, it's on the PlayStation. I have it downloaded on my Series X right now.
Okay. So if you are playing it on PC on an ultra wide screen, you really need to go over to Nexus Mods and grab a couple mods from there, because there is a issue with the ultra wide screen where it doesn't know, I guess, that you're using an ultra wide screen, or it's not taking it into account. So it's more so like you just have a cut version of a regular widescreen, so the zoom is like way too close, and like the upper halves of people's heads in cinematics are just gone. So there is a mod that does fix that, and there is a mod that I'm also using right now that moves the camera back, because I feel like this game has the camera way too close to the character, and it's really weird.
Right.
But you know, kind of like going past that, the thing that I think that is really, you know, keeping me in this game is how the battle system has expanded over time. Because at the very start, you know, you just have your first main two characters of Gustav and Lune, and guys, I don't know if this is a thing for you, but the whole kind of like first 2 or 3 hours that I was playing this, I could not stop looking at Gustav in terms of like, this, they really did just take Robert Pattinson's face and put it on this dude. And I don't know, that really throws me off, even though like they fully admit, hey, we based this character on Robert Pattinson, and I don't know, it just really weirds me out, because it's falling into like a weird uncanny valley for me, and it bothers me. But as far as the battle system goes, the reason that I, you know, have really started to enjoy it as time goes on is that it is a very engine-driven battle system. I know that Julian kind of like lightly touched on it when he was talking about it last week, but to go a bit more in depth on the battle system, Julian already talked about, hey, like, you know, each character has their own, like, you know, stances or their own mechanics. Where it's like, whether it's, you know, charging up a bar to set off like a big attack, or, you know, using a certain attack to change your stance, and then that stance as you do, you know, special stuff with other things. But I think the big kind of thing for me is that once you are able to interact with the game more, the game has a lot of status ailments and a lot of kind of markers. Like, hey, you can make this person like be in a broken state, or you can make this person have a burn on them, or, you know, they are currently stunned. And at first I thought, oh, okay, you know, these are just like standard like debuffs and whatnot. But I think that is very much worth looking into the character's skill trees at the start of the game to know how you like want to build them. more so
Right.
than I think than in any other JRPG that I've played, because their skill trees are not particularly big. They're like maybe 20 to 30 nodes big, which, you get like, you have like 3 characters, or currently I have 3 characters, and it doesn't really like take long to like read through them, and you get them at a pacing where you can read through all them and you don't have to read through them again for a new character for a while. But like I was saying, with the kind of like status ailments and kind of debuffs and markers and stuff, this game is like character skills. A lot of them are kind of secondarily driven by the fact that, hey, if you hit somebody who's currently burned with this skill, you get this bonus. And then like that bonus can feed into another bonus, and that like synergizes, like so on and so forth. And you're kind of like, like I said, setting up an engine to get everything kind of flowing so that you are at maximum power for every character for as long as like you can, or like you just have a very fast ramp up to like reach that max power. And it feels very good. A thing that I actually really appreciate about how this game works is, Julian was saying, hey, this is like the Dark Souls of JRPGs. And I thought he was just saying that in terms of difficulty, because speaking of like kind of like difficulty, the way that I have been seeing how like this game plays out is that a boss fight is maybe like a minute or 2 in total.
Okay.
If you do it cleanly.
Right.
And that is like the very important thing, because this is a game that is very, very much about parrying and jumping. There is dodging, but I think dodging is baby bullshit. Because I don't see a point in dodging. Because the dodging and the parrying work off the same timing. It's just that dodging has regular dodging and a perfect dodge, and if you perfect dodge, that is also the timing for the parry. So if you're doing it anyway, you might as well do the parry. The dodge button is not needed, and you get more out of parrying than you do dodging.
How's the parry window?
The parry window is decently, not decently strict, but like it's pretty. I think it's like it's not it's not a wide window, I'd say. It's like, I think the wider window is more so meant for the dodging to like kind of ease you into it. But for the most part, I think that if you're going to be playing this game, you are going to mostly be parrying.
Right. Okay.
And
the key to a good parry is, that sense of impact, that good clash sound.
Yes.
So in terms of parry production, how is it presented in Clair Obscur?
The parry feels very, very notable. When you hit, everybody in this game is kind of like pseudo magical. So when you hit, there is a kind of big kind of like magical wave blast that occurs to like push you and the kind of enemy back during that parry. And it is, very noticeable. It is very, it's like very in your face. Like it has a very good feel when you parry. A kind of issue for the parry window actually is that I also think, like similar to Julian, that I think that like the soundtrack for this game is like pretty good. It's very like operatic. It's almost like it's like French metaphor refantasio.
Right.
The unfortunate thing is that I feel like I have to turn that thing like way, way down, because when you are parrying, there are both visual indicators and audio indicators. And the audio indicator is for me easier to use, and it gets drowned out by the in-game like music. So unfortunately, like I have to like turn that down. But the parrying is very, very important, because I don't think I said this yet, but the game, while it is a turn-based RPG, it operates a lot more like a strategy game, or like a tactic RPG, because instead of your turns kind of being like Persona, where it's like, okay, I'm gonna attack and then that's all I'm doing for this turn, or I'm gonna switch myself to the defense stance, that's all I'm doing for this turn. This is a game that is driven by an action point system, where it's like, that kind of thing. It's like, oh, this spell costs like 3 action points to use, and if you don't use all your action points, you can still keep doing stuff on your turn. And additionally, very much like from Persona, you have a gun, and everybody has like a gun equivalent, and the enemies also have weak spots on them. And the weak spots, I think, are a very interesting mechanic as well, because you're going to be choosing who you want to pop that weak spot. Because when you pop the weak spot, it'll either disable the enemy, it'll cause just like, AoE damage. It can, just do a lot of damage to the point where it's almost going to kill the enemy for you. Or you're kind of building up kind of enemy AI. I don't want to say issues. You're forcing the enemy to do something, because there is a kind of like system where, hey, if you pop this weak point on this enemy, another enemy will prioritize fixing or healing the previous like enemy you already dealt with, so they're not going to be like attacking you. And I am very much into that. I kind of like got distracted from the kind of Dark Souls point that I was talking about earlier, but a thing that I didn't realize for a while when I was playing the game is that I thought I wasn't getting very many item drops. But this is the type of game where you're kind of like Phoenix Down equivalent, your health potion equivalent, and all that are kind of tied to your bonfire equivalents. So your items that are using in battle are restored whenever you go to the bonfire equivalent. And of course it's going to respawn all the enemies. And I don't know, this game is really hitting for me on a battle level, but there are a lot of things about this game that makes me like, I don't know if you guys have ever played a game and you're like, oh, this is like a good game. The next game that this company makes in the series is going to be really, really good.
Yeah. Okay.
Because there's a lot of, I think, just kind of like quality of life things that I wish were in this game. Like, just something like a mini map. Because while visually the maps look really, really nice, I think that this has kind of the same issues that Black Myth Wukong had, where it is visually impressive. It is hard to tell, I guess, like the environments apart, at least for me, where, sometimes I'm not sure if I've revisited an area or not, or if I'm walking down a corridor that I've already walked. And I think for me, the thing that like really bothers me is I don't know which way is the critical path. Like, I'm sure that you guys, when you play, any game, because you guys are, capital G gamers,
Yep.
you know that you don't progress down the correct path right away. You have to progress down the wrong path first, so that you can pick up whatever little tidbits or items that the devs have put there.
And of course, you have to do your, that tango dance of go down one route, think, oh, this might be the main route, so I'll check out the other way. Go down that way and think, oh, wait, maybe this is the real route, so I should double back. And sometimes that path paralysis really does get to you.
Yeah, I really, really wish this had like a minimap for that reason.
That was when that was announced that the wouldn't have like a traditional map per se. I think that got a lot of head scratches. Where I don't know, Matt. To me, that seems like, is there a mod for it or anything?
I haven't seen one yet. I have been looking for a mod for it. I haven't seen one yet.
Okay.
I think another thing that is very Dark Souls-esque here is this game has a stat allocation in it, which always gives me a lot of paralysis in terms of what I'm doing, especially in this game, because like I said, this has like the kind of like Dark Souls like kind of stat allocation where you have I think it's like life, strength, defense, agility, and luck. And you also have kind of weapons that are doing the kind of thing where, oh, this weapon has C scaling with might, this weapon has like D scaling with luck, that sort of thing. So you have that portion of weapon planning and stat planning that you have to kind of integrate together. But you guys, I don't know how much defense is worth, like how much points into defense is worth it. because I have not
Mhm.
put any points into defense. All my characters are glass cannons, basically.
Matt, if you're always
Uh,
parrying, you don't need that
yeah,
defense.
yeah. You're always praying, so you don't need defense. Like I said, when you do a battle cleanly, the battle is 1 minute to 2 minutes long. Um,
Mhm.
Additionally, this game is horny for autosaves, dude. Like you I think the game was like auto saving for you every, I don't know, I want to say like 2 minutes. So and it's also like checkpoint auto saving. So even if you lose to a boss, you're going to respawn without even any menu inputs with the boss in your view again.
Mhm.
And I think that that is like why, like the boss, like I said, the boss fights are only like a minute or two. And it hurts me that you can't just retry into the boss. I think Metaphor ReFantasio like really spoiled me in that sense.
Yes. Yeah.
Where it's like, oh yeah, you can just restart the battle. Like, I think there is validity in not being able to restart the battle in this because it also still helps you learn
Of
the
course.
parry timings. But there's just so times where it's like, oh, I whiffed the first two parries and two of my characters are dead. Like, I'm not really I'm not gonna make it through this, but I guess I'll get the practice in.
Right.
And I don't know, I think that this game is like very, very competent, but it's like right at that point where it hovers for me at like a 7.58. And I know that if this studio could like remake this game, there would be so many improvements that I could already see
Right.
them like making. Also, this game doesn't have button remapping. Is that a thing that is common in console games now? Like, I can't. I can. There's options to do keybind changes if you're playing with mouse and keyboard, but I haven't. There isn't anything for controller, and I was just wondering, like, because you guys I think play on consoles more than I do. Have they been locking controls more often on consoles now, or is that
I
just
don't
this
know
game?
about I don't know about you, Rakush, but me personally, I just go with whatever the defaults are, and I'll learn to deal. Where I'm not when it comes to controller specifically, I'm typically not trying to remap anything. But Rakush, how
Mm,
are you with your console controls?
I'll adjust sliders, but I don't button remap.
Hmm.
Um,
mm,
I think like yeah, there's to be also fair, like I don't really play that many games where I'm like, wow, this control scheme is convoluted. Like I
Fair.
need to change this. So yeah.
I don't know.
Now,
Okay, yeah, it's not convoluted. It's more so for me that it's just like not my expected kind of control
right.
scheme. It's
What would you
um
remap if you could, Matt?
oh, I would want run on like a push left stick in instead of a right trigger. I
Yeah,
would,
yeah.
yeah, like I would want kind of just like the persona thing where you can attack on the overworld to like get an advantage on the enemies. I would want that on the like if we were looking PlayStation wise, I would want that on the square button instead of like R1.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
like I would want, I think or parry on like a different button. Like I would also want that on square instead of R1. Like there's a lot of kind of like things that I wish I could just like minorly rebind. Like I
Hmm.
wish map was on select instead of up. When you're on the overworld. Like it's just a bunch of like kind of like minor things that like sometimes it'll like trip me up when I go to like attack the enemy, but I just like pull up a menu instead of
Yeah,
swinging. And yeah,
that's
I don't know.
fair. Where I'll be honest, just hearing you and Julian talk about it, there's definitely something here that seems like it's going to be up my alley. But Matt, I'll be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I think after playing a good portion of Metaphor, I don't want to say good portion because I'm not sure how far I got into the game, but after playing some Metaphor and maybe playing through Clair Obscur, I'm scared that there will probably be sensibilities from both these games that if you were to put together would most likely make my ideal Persona game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to be crushed when none of those sensibilities find themselves into the next Persona installment.
Yeah.
Where, I don't know, Matt, with just the different mechanics, that present themselves throughout Clair Obscur is, do they leave enough of a lasting impression to you that you want to see these concepts explored in more traditional JRPGs? Or do you think that this works as a good alternative, but you might prefer a more typical turn-based experience?
I really, really like this turn-based experience.
Mhm.
The fact that there is kind of more to it than just I'm gonna do this move on my turn. There is a resource that you're kind of like playing with on your turn. Is kind of really important to me. The reason that I feel like I'm falling off of classic turn-based RPGs is because that there isn't like that action point resource to like play with or an equivalent to play with, and they do fall into the kind of I guess like Persona, speaking of like Persona or Metaphor, it's like, oh, hit with weakness and then like, do the all out attack equivalent type thing. Whereas for Metaphor, not Metaphor, for Clair Obscur, it is more so a engine building type game rather than a weakness exploitation type game. Like this game does have weaknesses, but it's just, more damage type weaknesses. It's not anything like, oh, you're stunning them or anything. So other elemental, I guess, attacks are still very not very valuable,
Mhm.
valid in terms of like combat. But
Okay.
if we are going to just like kind of compare it to Persona, I really, really hope that something that the next game that they decide to do is that they do better in stealing Persona's menu,
Mm.
because this UI was very, very much made for a mouse and keyboard, and controlling it with a controller I think really, really sucks.
Damn.
um
That's rough.
yeah, like
Because it's on my
cuz
Xbox right now.
like it's a really big issue I kind of have initially with the kind of like menu that where you're kind of handling your items or your character equipment and skills and stuff, is that it's hard to tell where your cursor is. Uh, they don't do a good job of highlighting the thing that you've picked. The only way they kind of show it is a kind of very faint gold border. Most of the menu is kind of like in this like kind of black screen. And kind of across the game, I think that the game has a lot of visual noise that doesn't need to be there, and especially
Right.
in the menu where you have this faint gold tint, and it maybe makes the thing that you've selected, 5-10% bigger than the other things, and I don't think that that's enough. Like whenever I go into a menu, I am always looking for where my cursor is, and
Hmm.
especially since the character kind of customization menu isn't just a list. It's like you have a table on the left, a table on the right, a two column table in the middle that you're kind of like moving through. It does not control well, and I really, really hope that they fix that for whatever next game they make, because I'm sure that this game is going to be like very like pretty well received, or like it already is being like very well received. And when they have the opportunity to work on this one, and with I think all the I'm gonna assume that they are for sure going to be getting complaints about kind of their UI and kind of their
Yeah.
quality of life. I really, really expect the next game in the series to be very, very good.
Hmm. Well, hopefully that's going to be sooner rather than later. Or, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
Take as much time as you want, just because
Yeah.
there
Mm-hmm.
definitely seems like there is potential here. And it is just such a unique take on a, such a historied genre that just any new innovation does make me excited. Where I am looking to play some of this week
Mm-hmm.
as well. But that is Clair Obscur, Expedition 33. Matt, final
Mm-hmm.
question.
Mm-hmm.
How does it feel to be playing as characters closer to our age?
There's like a part where kind of course with how like this game story goes. There's a part where they see someone with gray hair and just like, oh man, you look so old. Why are you old? It's like, cool. Cool.
Cool. Cool. Cool.
Man.
Oh man, but yeah, Clair Obscur available now. But moving to something that will not be available by the time this is shared with our friends. Boys, the Blossom Dance event for Monster Hunter is coming to a close. I believe
Mhm.
at the time of our recording, there is, I believe 2 more days for the festivities. But Rakush, how's the Blossom
Mhm.
Festival going for you?
Uh, Highlighted by the power of friendship.
Mm.
This was the first time over the past week, I hunted with the Mistake Zone boys. And that went, I'll admit, hunting with you guys for the first time made me realize, wow, I do not take this game as seriously as you guys take it. Where the amount of coordination between Matt and Rakush, especially when it comes to, oh, I'm gonna pop this red dot, or I'm gonna down this monster, or hey, make sure to eat up, or I'm gonna activate this buff, or I need to do my own buff. A lot of coordination that I respect, but that all that went over my I just want to press Y head,
Mm-hmm.
where there was this is the Rey Dau fight. That's only a timed one, correct, Matt?
Sort of.
Okay.
The Arc Tempered Rey Dau
Mm-hmm.
event is, I think, going to just be around for like the duration of the
Yeah.
Blossom Fest, and then I think it just becomes kind of like a random spawn that shows up
Okay.
Okay.
because
I was gonna
Where
ask that.
because like I'm really looking forward to seeing what they're gonna do with the 6-star variant or how hard that one's gonna hit.
okay. But Rakush, we all fought it this week for the first
Mhm.
time together with the power of friendship. But what did you think of the fight?
I really enjoyed it. So, I mean, kind of like the way we all ended up playing it is Matt sends him a message. He's like, "Yep, I'm ripping against this guy." And then I think we were just chatting, and then next thing we know, we're all logging in, and we're like, "All right, let's finally try playing it." Because I have been kind of waiting for the monster to where it's kind of like, "Oh yeah, wow, we're dying. This is Monster Hunter." Finally feels like it. Um, did not disappoint. I think the first fight we did wipe. I wiped twice, if I remember.
Yeah, I was the other two
Um,
on that first fight.
yeah. And for anyone that's listening, it's like, oh, you only have three. There's a food buff that gives you a fourth. Um, yeah, it was fun, man. Like once we figured out sort of like the new movement patterns and like the environmental stuff that we can use and the timing on the things and just kind of figuring out the coordination a little bit more. Like it was great. I really enjoyed it. Um, and yeah, Jaren, you're a natural, bro. You fit right in.
No, I press Y until things die and wait for my friends or randos to do all the work, which, you know what?
You fit right in.
That is the way I want to play Monster Hunter, where I didn't realize the fourth down was a food buff, where maybe when I go play with pubs, I should probably pop that because I don't think anyone else is popping that, to be completely honest, based on my experience so far. But Matt, I
Mm-hmm.
believe you've got the fight down to a science. What did you think of the Arc Tempered Rey Dau fight?
Yeah, the first time I went to fight Arc Tempered Rey Dau, I was not respecting Arc Tempered Rey Dau. I kind of just like went in all willy nilly, and it carded me in. I think before I really got more than 5% of its like health gone, it
Mm-hmm.
carded me, and I think before I even hit like 90% of its health, it carded me again. But I think it was a very fun fight. The thing that I kind of really like about this fight is that there are, I guess, like 4 places that Rey Dau will try to move to as you're fighting it. And I, normally I don't really like it when the monster runs away a lot, but I think that like kind of it moving around and it going for the ambush on you at the second location, I think is like a
Yeah.
very nice change on the monster. And kind of all the changes that they made to the Rey Dau move set to kind of just make him more aggressive and more annoying to deal with, and more. They started with this monster in particular. I noticed doing something that they usually bring in during, I guess, like master rank, which is the moves that you shouldn't get up against.
Hmm.
Where, like, it's like the moves that like hit you and you shouldn't spam your recovery because you want your iframes to go through the follow-up hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this Rey Dau is like really setting people up very nicely to go into master rank whenever they release that, because basically all of this Rey Dau's attacks have electric follow-up. If it's anything that hits the ground, it'll pop a second time, and it does a very good job of teaching you, hey, you shouldn't expect to, get up right away. You should stagger your recovery.
It's taking the button mashing out a little bit as well, which I really kind of respect with the fight. And also I think just like regular Rey Dau, one of the things that made it extremely easy as a dual blade player was that once he hits his lightning breath attack, there's a weak spot that opens up on the mouth. Easy to time that one. Once you figure out, like, dodge it, stay close, hit it, and like you pop it for good damage. I have not been able to do that with our tempered Rey Dau. So it's like there is definitely like a lot of those kind of changes as well, where hitting Rey Dau takes a lot more strategy. And I think that's what really makes this an interesting fight for me personally, is like it takes it from like button mashing and just kind of like, yeah, my thunder resist is high, I'm good. No, you can still get your ass kicked. And like you have to kind of think through like, the attacks. You have to sort of like, run away preemptively sometimes. Like if you want to like, avoid falling into even like the iframe sort of like situations, you kind of got to just like, make sure you figure out when to dodge it and stuff like that. It's fun. Like it really is introducing a lot of like different play styles. Also, like it's making use of one part of the map that I haven't seen any other monster make use of, which is sort of like that desert sandhill sort of area. And it is creating a little bit of an interesting sort of like up down sort of like combat system, and like hitting like, like if you're a dual blade wielder and you hit circle on a downslope, you're basically doing like your sliding attack. So like there's a lot of those kind of unique sort of elements that are introduced with this fight too. I like it.
Yeah, I think this is the first time where if my character says I can't move, I'm cold sweating at that point, just because I'm probably going to die the moment that's dropped. And I haven't felt that when playing the game. But yeah, in terms of that sand dune area, I think, what's its name? Arkveld or whatever? I think the one that appears in planes, sometimes the fight takes, is over there, which I do find, I don't know, I kind of like that area, just because I feel like the dunes can act as cover sometimes. But overall, I don't know. I'm not as in deep as you guys, where I can't talk to the nuances about this fight. I just think it's a flashy fight, and I do like how a lot of people were running it, and that made me able to join fights and have it instantly end. And
nice.
Another thing I do respect is a lot of people are just trying to trap it. Because boys, I realize that the moment no one tries to trap it, I know that's going to be a dead run. And got some weird stickers when maybe I put down some traps, because I guess some people don't like trapping, which is weird to me. But that is Monster Hunter. It is May now, surprisingly, and really curious about that Capcom collab towards the end of the month. Hopefully it is something good. But I guess real quick before we get to Don't Match Me, some news tidbits this week. To no one's surprise, boys, and much to the dismay of our friend Mark on his fantasy critic draft. But Matt, remember in one of the first episodes of the Return of the Mistake Zone, this current incarnation of the Mistake Zone, the announced Grand Theft Auto 5 and one of the Grand Theft Auto 6, my apologies. And one of my questions to you was that, Matt, will this game be delayed? And I believe you said probably. So Matt, on May 2nd, were you surprised when Rockstar Games announced on their website that Grand Theft Auto 6 is now coming May 26, 2026?
Not at all. Not at all. I was very happy to see that in terms of a fantasy league, but in terms of surprise, no, not at all.
Matt, how do you feel about you being projected now to finish 4th instead of 5th?
Nice. We're moving up in the polls.
Mark was sad because this also meant that the Take-Two stocks have also went down this week. But Rakush, are you surprised at the delay?
Not in the slightest, man.
And then I know people are, maybe you don't want to hear it, but sorry, Matt, what's up?
No, I'm really interested now in seeing what games are gonna come or not going to be delayed anymore. Because I feel like a lot of games, moved out of the way to like make sure they're not dropping with it. I wonder what's going to be filling that gap in now.
And that was the discourse around the games industry, especially from news outlets of you heard all these reports and speculations that publishers were, holding off on announcing their release date just because who knows when the Grand Theft Auto 6 game will actually come out. And for them to announce, hey, nope, we're coming in a year's time, which is also kind of wild to think about, even though that's going to go by in a blink of an eye. Where when Borderlands announced that they were moving their release date a week or two up, people thought, oh, this means that the Grand Theft Auto 6 release date's coming, but nope. So yeah, we'll see that in a year's time. And with that delay, boys, I'm now convinced this will be $100 US base price.
Yep.
But speaking about base prices, boys, also announced this week, Microsoft raises the price of all Xbox Series consoles. Xbox games are confirmed to hit $80 this holiday. This was found on the Xbox support pages. This is also being reported everywhere. I'm grabbing from the IGN story right now. So we're looking at increases to all their hardware, some of their accessories, some things that stand out to me. The Xbox Series X is up from going from 500 USD to 600 USD, and the Xbox X 2 terabyte special edition is going from $600 to $730, which makes it more than a PlayStation 5 Pro. And that begs the question, Rakush, how soon do you think Sony's going to announce their price increases?
That is fucking crazy, first off. Pardon my language, but that is insane. 730 US?
Yep, for the 2 terabyte version.
God, that's crazy, dude. If you want a PS5, buy it in the next month, I think. Like that, prices are shooting up, Bubba. That's, yeah.
Because, yeah, like, Sony has to be, like, pretty quick on this, where I'm, with Summer Games Fest around the corner, I'm not going to be surprised if we're going to see a price, adjustment on their end. But in terms of us here in Canada, I mentioned last week that we saw, the placeholder pre-order price for Silent Hill F. That's currently $99 Canadian. But it seems that GameStop Canada has already updated some of their Canadian prices. And boys, sit down for this one. Rakush, strap in, because the new normal MSRP games in Canada going forward seems to be $109.99. Rakush, how icky does that make you feel?
The life of a pirate for me, I guess, man.
Yo ho.
Boys, I don't know this. I feel like for the past few weeks now, every week I've said I'm being priced out of this hobby, and kind of seeing this, right? Like, I'm the type of person who grew up with $1.39 $1.39 junior chickens, and now seeing a junior chicken value meal for, what is it, $5.99? I understand inflation, I understand that the world's in a terrible place, but mentally I think my baseline for a junior chicken is $1.39. I'm never buying a junior chicken ever again.
Absolutely, it is absolutely a thing, right? Like, I went to they opened up a Jimmy John's here or something like that recently, where it's this US sub chain, and so I was like, okay, let me go try this out. It's $21 for a footlong there, and like, as someone who grew up with that Subway earworm $5 footlong theme song, like, it's wild to go from like, man, footlongs used to be $5 to like $21. Like it is absolutely a thing, man. Like we are getting priced out of a lot of things here. And we were talking about this like when the Switch 2 price got announced as well, right? Like I was asking the question about like previous like generations, previous iterations, even mind you, that was like a decade ago, but like the console used to be the loss leader for whatever else you would buy along with the console, but the console itself is no longer being treated as the loss leader, right? And like in past generations, like the Series X, people would be like, yeah, I'll wait for the price to drop, not like go up by $100 US. Like that is insanity to me, right? Like that is not a good place for any industry to be in, let alone the gaming industry that has historically always been about price drops, right? Like even with, and I'm guilty of this too, right? Like I always talk about Baldur's Gate 3 as like this game I really want to play, but I won't buy it because it's full price. And I'm absolutely the problem with these things as well. But like there is this whole mindset of like, I'll wait for the Steam sale. I'll wait for it to be on Games Pass or like, you know, this or that or whatever as well. So like to see price increases in this industry, it's a little bit crazy to me. And like, I don't know, man. Like it's not a good place for a lot of these things to be in. Just in general, like, you know, even things that we were not going to talk about on this episode, but like even with like games coverage outlets and stuff like that, like, you know, a lot of rough news there. Like it's just, it feels icky everywhere I look when it comes to video games, and it's not a great feeling.
Guys, the Xbox Series X and Series S came out November 10th, 2020. They should be giving these away right now.
5 years ago. I think, and like, okay, question for you guys, right? Because something I also thought of that was interesting with specifically the Xbox side of things, and it came up on a lot of, you know, podcasts that I was listening to this week as well, so it's not an original thought by any means, but it is a company, Microsoft, that is now putting its games on all platforms. There is nothing that makes the Xbox itself a unique hardware device. As far as a software platform, yeah, like you've got the Games Pass, you know, you're whatever, like you're selling like Forts on the PS5, so on and so forth. There's the uniqueness there, but like Xbox as a hardware brand, I don't think it's what it like used to be anymore. Like I don't think it's necessarily like got the legs to continue to be sort of like the app or like, you know, the console to use. And like just in general as well, right? Like a lot of just when you just take a look at the specs, like the PS5, PS5 Pro, like they pride themselves on slightly better specs. I wouldn't say like they're all that much better, but like you have the Series S as like, you know, the Xbox console. That's like the more quote unquote affordable option. The Series X was absolutely just like for the enthusiastic gamer kind of thing. I get that, but like even then for the enthusiastic gamer, I'm not sure it was the best platform available out there. And for like, and so you can't even use this argument anymore that like, oh yeah, it's got console exclusives, because all these games are being made available everywhere. Like you can play it on the PC, you can play it on the PS5, you can play it on like, well, not the Switch yet, but like, you know what I mean, right? And so like, I don't know, man, like it's just such a weird thing, and it's such a weird move to make. Like I truly don't, I don't know how to assume what's going on with this industry anymore. You know, like at least back in the day, like you could make some like educated guesses based on like, you know, articles out there, news reports out there, rumors out there and stuff like that. I just don't know anymore what's happening with like, you know, the gaming sort of industry side of things.
Yeah. And plus it's that cynic in me where I don't even think it's fair to say cynical just because we know how it's going to play with. When we look at the price increases to the games, to the software side, you know, you can attribute that to, you know, the current unprecedented times that we're seeing. But, you know, deep down we all know, no, this is the new normal. These aren't going down. They're not going to be adjusted. Where it's moving forward, it's going to be a lot harder for me to buy something day one, let alone day 30 at this point, where you know, I've said it before, Matt, especially every time we've talked about Steam Next Fest, I feel like when it comes to gaming, I'm more excited, I'm more interested when it comes to the indie games, the things that we're
Yeah.
discovering during Next Fest, where I think even moving forward, this is the lane that I'm sticking to just because as much as I want to play Silent Hill, as much as I'll want to play Tony Hawk, despite Rakush counter picking it on Fantasy Critic, um, I'm not like I'm not in a position. I say that when admitting to pre-ordering the Switch 2 last week, but I'm not in position to feel good about paying 100 plus for games. So I'm just not going to pay 100 plus for games at this point. So,
Do you guys feel like there's a breaking point for like, because I do agree with you. Like there is a point where it's like, man, I'm getting priced out of this, right? Like, what is that? What is that point of no return? Can you even imagine what that point is? Because like it has been such a fundamental part of our lives, right? Like it's how we've like it's this really cool way to consume different media, like in the form of games that like it's been so integral in us becoming who we are in this day and age as well. So like what realistically would it take for us to get to a point where we're like, I'm done, like I'm not playing games or new games at least?
well, I feel like this is like the closest I'll probably get because
Mhm.
we're again, if I'm not playing new games, I don't know about you guys, but I'm looking at my Steam library right now. It says games just shy of hitting that $500 mark where I have backlogs between Steam, between all the free stuff on Epic Games, and then even the stuff I've accumulated on my PlayStation and account and my Xbox account and even my Nintendo account. Where maybe moving forward, the mistake zone is just hey, let's play the latest indie demos and let's go through our
Right.
backlogs because yeah, I feel like I had there's a chance I'm never going to play each of the 500 games on my Steam uh, library, but maybe I should at this point just because, yeah, that seems more exciting to me than saying, oh, maybe dropping $100 for one game is less efficient than say buying 3, 4, even 5 indie games that will probably give me more playtime and even more satisfaction, to be completely honest. Where I
Mhm.
don't know, between I think when I think about it, the price of me buying I don't want to keep dragging Silent Hill F because but that's like my point of reference right now. Me paying $100 for Silent Hill F as opposed to me getting ground floor of Monster Hunter Wilds and Blueprints, I feel like I know which one I'm going to kind of tend to. So I don't know. That's currently how I'm feeling right now. Where I don't think this is the death of gaming to me personally, but it's a shift of where I'm looking. But not uh,
Mhm.
as someone who, uh, you know, this has been their hobby for a lifetime now with the
Mhm.
price increases just around the board. How does your I guess the near future of gaming look to you personally?
I mean, it to me is looking very Game Pass and indie oriented.
Hmm.
Like I am definitely going to be a lot less I don't know what word to use, like casual about just like, dropping, hey, $100
Yeah.
on, whatever game. I am
Mhm.
going to be a lot more calculated about it. And, like Rakush said, yo, the high seas are always there, They were
Boys, we're
reliable
good
for
Christian boys.
me.
We're good Christian boys.
They were reliable
Yeah,
for
we're
me,
just
but like, they're
The
there.
games
yeah,
are in the
we like
mail.
traveling.
The
Hmm.
games are
We
in the
like
mail.
traveling as well,
Yeah.
you know?
The holy
No, we just
water on those high seas.
yeah, we're just sightseeing.
Hmm.
We're just
Hmm. You're
sightseeing.
sightseeing. Just sightseeing.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, Matt. We'll drop our $6 a month on ZZZ, and that will last us
Hmm.
for a bit. We got
Man,
their new
okay.
characters.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I
What's up,
always
Matt?
think about like, do I want to grab like a like an early Switch 2? Just because the early consoles are always the ones where it's easiest to go sailing.
And
But I
like,
don't know.
do you want me to my bleak thoughts?
Hmm.
Do you buy it not only for that reason, or the scary thought is this the cheapest the Switch 2 will be for the foreseeable
Hmm.
future?
Yeah, that's true. See, like my big issue is that there are definitely going to be games that I would want to play online, and doing that on a modern Switch is always modern console, I guess, is always iffy. But
Allegedly.
it's not like the PC where
It
you
just
can
means
have like
he-
like pirated games, and then you just use a Steam account for anything you want to play multiplayer.
Allegedly.
He just means by modding. All he says by all he means by modding is he's putting some like stickers on his console.
Yes.
That's all.
Oh
Yes.
man, you know what? Sorry, what about mods, dude? Clair Obscur really needs a clean faces mod. Oh man, that game. Whenever you get into a fight, you leave it covered in blood and like just like viscera, and you get hella messy.
You don't like that?
No, you need
Nope,
those clean
not-
faces, especially. Okay, Jared.
No, Matt's all about those clean faces, Rakush.
Got it.
You know what? Okay, I don't know how you guys feel about this in video games, but like, I have become very desensitized to like just like boobs and butt fan service, right?
Mm-hmm.
Clair Obscur has like very, very, very clear feet fan service, and I'm still not like past that emotionally yet. Like
Times are changing, old man. Times are changing.
Man, it's wild. It's very blatant, and I'm like, oh, is this how prudes feel?
So you're saying it's got like good toe wiggling technology?
It's yeah, because like it's kind of like in that whole art scene, or not the whole art scene. Like when people are doing art, there's always like the talk of like, oh, hey, you draw hands really, really well. That's really, really cool. You must have put a lot of work into that. Whereas when you look at feet, it's like, oh, you draw feet really well. You must be some kind of freak. And one of the opening kind of like set pieces in Clair Obscur is one of the female main characters playing guitar, but she's on a stage, and the stage like kind of goes up to about like chest height. So when you walk up to the stage, and you don't adjust your camera upwards, you just kind of have it forward the way that you've had it the whole time. The thing that's in the center of your view are just some toes. Just she's not wearing shoes. This character does not wear shoes. When you use her as your avatar in the game, she flies, or she floats. So her feet are just like pointed backwards towards you, and she kind of just like flies forward. And that's my feet stuff on Clair Obscur.
Guys, we're not here to
That's
yuck
rough.
anyone's yums. Everyone's welcome here.
Yo,
Everyone
I'm not
friendly
yucking
is
it.
welcome here.
I'm not yucking it. I'm just saying.
Yep.
This is like, it's weird to see foot fan service
Yeah.
in. I want to call Clair Obscur like a mainstream game.
He's just got the heart of a maiden, and so he's not ready.
Yeah, we just
for
have to
foot
get
stuff
with the
yet.
times.
weird.
People like what they like, and maybe, boys. I wasn't gonna say this, but now that Matt opened the floodgates,
Oh, how do you feel about feet, Jaren?
it maybe I had a few beverages this week, and I was getting ready for bed, and I thought, man,
That's a crazy start to whatever you're
yeah,
about to say.
man,
Oh my
I'm
God.
really interested.
you guys ever really think about how weird toes are? Toes are weird. And I was just like
Yeah.
looking at my feet before getting into bed and thinking, these toes are I'm going to
these
use my
grippers.
F-bomb for the week.
Mhm.
Toes are
You sure
fucking
it was-
weird.
Jaren, you sure it was just brewskis and not like
You take that for what you will, Rakush, but I think toes are freakishly weird. Like, they're weird.
You know what's really weird about toes? If you cut off the small toe, like your entire body's balance is like fucked.
Mhm.
And that is crazy to me. Like it looks so inconsequential in the grand scheme of things, and then you realize, nah, it's like one of the most important parts of your entire body.
Yeah.
Man.
Sound like how
Speaking
you
of
can't
which-
like properly hold a sword, I think, without the pinky, or you lose a lot of
Ah.
strength holding if you hold the sword if you don't have a pinky, or something like
Fair.
that.
Okay, that explains a lot.
Speaking about Pinky, I really need to play Promise Mascot Agency this week. Shout out to Pinky. But, boys, I want to thank Matt for saving us from, the bummer talk. But Matt has enlightened us and put us in a better space right now for our final segment, our last segment. And that is, of course, the Don't Match Me challenge, where every week at the end of our episodes, one of us will bring forth 5 questions. And all you have to do, our friends out there, is come up with answers that don't match ours. Where if you want to play, the normal mode, actually, to bring it back to what Matt said, if you want to play the dodge mode, just don't match the host this week. But if you want to do the big boy parry mode, you gotta parry not 1, not 2, but 3 people and their answers this week. Where, boys, I'll be honest, I wasn't sure who was doing Don't Match Me this week, and then I realized, oh wait, I'm doing Don't Match Me this week.
Oh, I thought I was doing Don't Match Me this week.
Matt, are you doing Don't Match Me this week? I thought I was after Rakush.
Oh, I thought
Matt,
I was Do you have one? Do you have a...
I have one.
Okay. If you had one prepped, then do it. Because I was going to use one of my stored ones, which I thought was maybe relevant, but yeah.
Don't worry, because Matt, I just finished my shift at the Konbini. And I thought, now's a chance to go on a road trip with the boys to fight. We're going to fight Rey Dau, of course. But on our road trip, we had to stop at another convenience store, another Konbini. So for this week's...
That just sounds like the plot of Final Fantasy 13.
15. No, 13. You're right. Or was it 15?
Is it?
15's the car one,
Yeah, maybe
right?
15.
15's the car one.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry. 15, yes.
So boys, on this week's Don't Match Me convenience store edition, we're on a road trip and we're taking a break and we're stepping inside our magic convenience store that, encompasses all of these different cultures, all these shared convenience store experiences of the past. But first, boys, we got to pick up a snack. So, question 1, name any snack that you would pick up at a convenience store. Name any snack that you're picking up at a convenience store.
How specific are we going here?
You know what? Let's go, general snack. Let's say snack and not food item, because spoilers, that might be under question coming up. But name any snack that you're picking up at a convenience store. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boys, I'm picking up for my snack the Reese peanut butter cups.
Ooh, that's a good road trip snack.
That's an elite driving snack. That's an elite driving candy. I think.
That's a very clean snack to have on the road.
So I'm picking up the Reese peanut butter cups for my convenience store snack. Matt, what are you picking up?
I didn't think that thoroughly. I'm being a messy boy. I picked Fritos.
Not with the Fritos. And Rakush, what are you picking up?
I'm the biggest fan of that. Interesting. Pick up some jerky.
Okay.
Ooh.
Nice.
I actually ate some earlier.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Nice.
So, we have our baskets, we have the snacks in it, but I'm looking around, and of course, we're taking a look at the fridges, and, we have to wash down our snacks, boys. So, what refrigerated drink from a convenience store are you picking up? So, question 2, name any drink you can pick up from a convenience store refrigerator. Name any drink, whether you want to be specific or even just pretty broad. Name any drink you're picking up from a convenience store refrigerator.
This one's a little bit tough because it kind of depends on the kind of convenience store.
Yeah.
This is the magic one, going from all our collective experiences, all our different cultures that we've been to. But, boys, name a drink, a convenience store drink you're picking up from the refrigerator. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boys, whenever I'm on vacation or whenever I'm on a road trip and I'm in a convenience store, I'm picking up the bottled water.
Ooh.
So if you said bottled water...
Oh, you went old reliable.
You're out. Matt, what are you picking up from the refrigerator?
I mean, I was considering my Fritos from earlier, and I think I'd like to wash that down with a nice Coke Zero.
Okay.
Coke Zero, interesting.
What are you picking up?
I would go with Okay, so if they have any limited edition Mountain Dew flavors, I would probably pick one of those up. If they don't have any of those, I would just go for old reliable Gatorade Zero.
Rakush, you have to pick one for the Don't Match Me challenge. What are you? What are people not trying to match? What's your locked in answer?
Mountain Dew.
Okay.
Ooh.
Pitch Black.
Ooh. I like Pitch Black.
Good one. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, boys. So we got our refrigerator drinks, but you know that slushy machine's calling us. That icy machine is calling us.
Oh, I knew this was coming.
That Slurpee machine is calling us.
Oh shit!
Boys,
okay.
We got to. So name any slushy, Slurpee, icy. Just name any slushy flavor you can find in a convenience store. Name any slushy flavor you can find in a convenience store. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boys.
Mm-hmm.
A little backstory for my answer, but on vacation one year at this pretzel place, this was somewhere in California. This was the first and only time I saw an icy machine with cherry limeade. And boys,
Ooh.
that would I still it's been close to 2 decades now. I still think about that cherry limeade icy. So if you said cherry limeade as your slushy flavor, you're out. Matt, what slushy flavor are you picking up?
Jaren, I think I'm pushing right up there against you because I'm going with specifically lime slush. Not lemon lime, not anything else. Just I want that lime slush experience.
Good experience. Rakush, you're up with your cup. What flavor are you getting?
If I can't mix flavors, I would just go for Coca-Cola.
Okay.
The classic. That's classic. That's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
Classic 7-Eleven. Yeah.
That's a good one. Okay, so we got our Slurpees or slushies in hand, but wait. We're looking at the pastry display. You know, boys, especially when we've respectively been in Japan, you know, their pastries pretty good. So even here in Canada, sometimes in America, those convenience store pastries, sometimes they're calling you. So, name a convenience store pastry. Name a convenience store. You know what? I'll make it a bit broader too. Name a convenience store pastry or dessert. You know, something in that display.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that be, you know, fresh or prepackaged, but just name a convenience store pastry or dessert.
Good.
This is gonna be tough.
So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Guys, I gotta stick to my reliables here. And it's always a battle, but if you said the chocolate chip cookie, you're out.
Ooh. I was thinking that.
Boys, I love me a chocolate chip cookie. But Matt, you were thinking it, but what did you lock in?
I locked in on the vanilla dip donut, the sprinkly donut. Specifically the one that is the line sprinkles and not the bullshit circle sprinkles.
Yep. I feel that. Has to be multicolored, right, Matt? Okay. Rakush,
confetti ones, yeah.
What's your pastry of choice here?
It's been proven I'm a weeb, so I'm gonna go with the Baumkuchen cake.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, I don't know if you remember if you ended up trying this when you were there, but did you have the kind of like it was like the Earl Grey Baumkuchen or however you say it cake at 7-Eleven
in Japan?
Yeah,
I did not.
Oh, that was like surprisingly good. I did not expect to like that as much as I did.
Yeah, man. Also, I saw a video of how Baumkuchen was made this morning, and it's like made on a spit, so it's like a cake kebab, a cake bob.
Oh, really?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll send it to you guys later.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, boys, our baskets are full. We have our slushies in hand, and we're in line to pay. But you know that whether it be the oven, the rollies, but you know there's that hot food display by the cashier that's calling to us. So, name a convenience store hot food item that's typically near a cashier. So, I don't know what they're typically called. If it's the oven, if it's the what's the thing called with the
just the roller.
Yeah, with the rollers. But yeah, just name a hot food item that you find near the cashier typically. But name a hot food convenience store item in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boys, I don't know about you, but every time I'm in Japan, every time I go to a convenience store, you know I'm not leaving without the fried chicken fillet. So if you said fried chicken fillet, I'm sorry, but you're out.
Oh, man. Oh,
Okay,
man.
we'll find out if I'm out in a little bit, Jaren.
Okay.
Okay.
But Matt, what's your hot food item that you're picking, that you're impulse buying?
I was also thinking about the trip to Japan, and Jaren, I specifically avoided anything like the chicken cutlets because I thought you might go that way, but I picked what they call in Japan the American dog.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Just a corn dog. I picked the corn dog.
That's good. That's good. Okay, Rakush.
Do the chicken strips at 7-Eleven that are sauced count the same as the chicken that you bought, Jaren?
You know what? I'll give you chicken strips just because I think at the end of the day, I think a chicken strip is different. Would you say, Matt? Would you say the chicken fillet is different than the chicken strip from your?
Oh yeah,
experience?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think the chicken fillet is a lot more like analogous to a chicken patty, or like what you would expect inside. Like if someone gave you a chicken burger, you would get that. Whereas if someone gave you a chicken burger and you got like chicken like strips in there, you probably wouldn't be mad, but you'd be very confused because that's not
honestly,
the same.
I'd be intrigued more than mad. I'll be very honest. You're thinking like famichiki, right? Like those kind of like the flattened ones. Schnitzel-esque almost.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. Boys, this is making me reminisce because what I should have said for my pastry, I should have said I was picking up the mini pancakes with the syrup and the butter in the middle.
That's a good
and then
one.
You open that up and then you put the chicken fillet inside because I'm a trash man.
Dang.
And then you pick up your curry instant noodles to go with it.
Oh man.
Making a makeshift griddle there.
Guy.
Boys, I'm a garbage person.
We
like garbage.
are garbage people, Jaren.
I
are
love
garbage
that
people.
they had that system where you could buy like, kind of just like rice and curry, like the sauce by itself, and then you pick like a famichiki type to go with it.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Oh man.
Oh man.
I miss boys. So we're stocked up. We're ready to go fight Rey Dau now, and that is the Don't Match Me convenience store KONBINI challenge for the week. Hopefully, you made it, but if not, at least we feasted. At least we feasted. But boys,
I'm looking over my list. I'm looking over my list of Fritos Coke, lime slush, donut, and a corn dog, and I feel like I would feel too ashamed to walk out of a convenience store with that in Japan, but here in Canada, I'm totally okay with it.
I feel like here in Canada, that would not be enough.
Man. But boys, somehow we made it to another Beefy Boy episode. As always, I want to thank Matt Alba for joining me this week, and of course, editing this podcast.
Yo, thanks, man. As always, I want to, thank you for hosting the show, bringing us our Don't Match Me, and I did not realize that this was a 2-hour episode almost.
We somehow managed to do it for an episode we didn't think would go that long. But also got to thank our boy Rakush for joining us this week. Thanks, Rakush.
Thanks, guys. I'm gonna go snap into the Slim Jim now.
Okay.
Nice. Is it actually Slim Jims, like branded Slim Jims, or is it just,
I went grocery shopping today at Walmart. I know, but like it was 2 for $3, so I'm like, yes.
Oh, true.
The first one already consumed. Second one, maybe today.
Shout out everyone at Polygon who unfortunately lost their jobs. Shout out to the history of Giant Bomb is what we'll say at the very least. No shout out to trailers because sometimes, boys, trailers in 2025, that's the whole movie. That's a whole movie sometimes. And maybe if Rakush sees Thunderbolts, I'll expand on that. But until then, Matt, please take it away.
This has been the Mistake Zone, and we're all out of cheap AAA video game consoles.
That's just